Welcome to the InfoMullet YouTube channel. If you enjoy this content, please like or share. And if you'd like to support the InfoMullet by becoming a mulleteer, visit us on Patreon. We appreciate your support. Back to the questions. Tyler Brown's asking, taking the other direction, underreporting cases like what is happening in Florida, Georgia, firing scientists who once say money. This seems criminal. Why is it not? Is it just politics as usual, pushing the economy must reopen narrative? So, Tyler, this gets to a deeper question of the independence of civil servants in a government system. So for most of the United States history, and I'll get up to your point at the current time very quickly, but for most of the United States history up until 1900s, you had basically civil service jobs were political bounty for whoever won the election. They'd staff their friends, and you couldn't question the politician in charge because they'd simply fire you. You'll hear these described as Tammany Hall, and Tammany is a New York guy who was horrible at this. There was a major civil service reform during the progressive era in the first part of the 20th century at both a federal and a state level that tried to insulate and protect civil service workers. And what you got was basically there would be career civil service workers who would specialize in their function and not be politically motivated or politically incented. And above them, from a leadership standpoint, there would be political appointees. And you see this both at the executive level and at the state level. What's happened is the independence of the civil service has eroded over the last couple of years. And this is, I mean, it's been an ongoing trend, but it's really accelerated in the most recent administration. And those barriers and protections are breaking down. Is it criminal? That's really tricky because a government always has the ability to hire and fire people, but there are supposed to be protections in place for civil service that they're protected from retaliation. However, if you're claiming retaliation in a political act, you have to make that case with a lawsuit, and at that point, you're suing the government. It's not impossible, but it's a very long, very in-depth, very drawn out. We'll find out. I mean, you can see this again when you look at Bridgegate in New Jersey with that whole thing and the firings that came out of that and the results, the lawsuits. It can go on for years before we know definitively. Can we say that this was probably political retaliation? Yeah, Florida's done a really strong effort to try and make their situation look less worse than it is. Is it criminal? That's going to be for a grand jury to decide. Certainly, it doesn't look like the protections were in place, but it's not helping them. This is the thing. It's not helping Florida at all to fire their chief data scientist. It hasn't prevented them from having a huge outbreak. All they've done is they've now got someone, I think she's now got her own website that has her own dashboard and metrics on it, regardless of the state, and they have an outbreak. So it's one of these things where when politicians violate these rules thinking they're going to protect their reputation, they're not. Had he just, had DeSantis actually listened and followed the advice, he may not be in such a bad state right now with an outbreak. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to follow the InfoMullet, visit us on Facebook or Twitter. And if you'd like notifications when we post new video content, click on the red subscribe button below the video. If you've ever wanted to become a mulleteer and support the InfoMullet, visit us on Patreon. We appreciate the support.